What's going on, guys? My name is Lieben and today I'm back with my blue 350Z. Now I have it in the garage. I'm thinking about keeping it here for the rest of winter, but I'm not sure yet. I might be tempted into taking it out. But because of that, I want to go ahead and clean the engine bay of this car. If we take a look under here, we can see that there's a lot of leaves and stuff like that on the hood, or on the engine bay of this car. Part of that reason is because I a lot of times park it underneath a tree, and during fall, well, it starts losing its leaves and it makes the engine bay of this car really dirty. The other thing is I used to have a PCV valve delete, and by that I mean that where the PCV valve used to come out, there used to actually just be a filter that basically poured all the engine smoke and stuff like that out into the air. But since I've gotten this car, I've actually got a oil catch can, and then that basically circulates the air back while keeping or trapping any of the oil in the oil catch can. I did a video on that install too, but anyways, since then I haven't cleaned the engine bay. And if we look at the hood right here, you can tell that that is where the smoke and all that used to come out of the engine, and it would just like completely ruin the cleanliness of the hood up here. So I want to go ahead and clean that. You can see there are some other spots, and because of that same smoke, this whole engine bay got pretty dirty. So I just want to go ahead and clean all of it and make it look as nice as possible. So basically what I'm going to start off with is, first I'm going to get the vacuum, or the shop vacuum, and basically pick up all of that leaves, all of the big debris and grime and all of that. So then after that, I'll just use some degreaser, some cleaner, go ahead and kind of spray it all over the car to go ahead and tackle that strong grime that's actually stuck onto everywhere. And then after that, I have what I believe is called a trim dresser and conditioner. I'll go ahead and use that and apply it all over like the black plastic to kind of go ahead and bring it back to life. I am thinking about in the future replacing this one because I don't know how, but the emblem right here popped off and it fell and I never noticed it, so now it kind of looks like that. I might go ahead and replace that, but meanwhile I want the engine bay to look as good as possible, especially now that hopefully there isn't no more smoke coming out of there. So I'll go ahead and start by vacuuming the leaves up. Alright guys, I have just finished vacuuming the entire car. If you can see right here, all of the leaves are pretty much gone on this side, and if we move over here to this side, it's pretty much the same thing too. The part that took me the longest, honestly, was those little like square crevices right there, because a lot of the leaves and dirt get stuck in there. I didn't clean it 100%. To do that, I would have had to taken off all of these plastic trims to actually go ahead and turn it over and be able to get everything out. I was just using like a little mini pick to push everything out. I got off as much as I could, but there's still some there, but it's not really a big of a deal. You can barely even tell them. But now that I have it all vacuumed, I'm going to go ahead and use some degreaser on the engine bay to go ahead and tackle some of that really strong grime on there. If you can see right here, there are some spots that are in pretty bad condition. So basically what I'm going to use is some cheap degreaser here. This is super clean. I got it from Walmart. It was like $9, so I mean it's really not that bad, and it's lasted me a long time, because if you see the instructions on the back here, It actually explains how to dilute it depending on what you're going to use. It says that if you use it on engines to go ahead and use full strength, but because I'm also going to be using it on the trim, right here it says to actually dilute it 8 parts water and 1 part of the actual super clean. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. It might take a little bit more scrubbing to take some of that hard or like really stuck on there grime, but I prefer to do that than having to risk it actually damaging like some of the paint or whatever on the trim. And this right here is a pretty good example on why you don't want to have this stuff on when it's too strong. I already had some of the degreaser here in this old bottle. It's not really that black magic wheel cleaner. It's just an old bottle where I actually put some of that super clean. And if you see right here where it was actually at, it started leaking a little bit and it literally started eating away on the paint of this little stand or stool. And as you go ahead, and I'm not really applying that much pressure, but you can actually see that the paint is coming off. So you do also want to make sure when you spray this stuff, you might want to have some gloves because it could start damaging the skin if you leave it too strong. But I have the super clean right here. It's already been diluted. I went ahead and poured some of it out so I can add some more water and dilute it more. Now I'm going to go ahead and spray it on the engine bay. Alright guys, you just saw me actually go ahead and start using the degreaser right here, and it did start looking better, but I actually went ahead and wiped it off real quick because I forgot that I actually wanted to start with the hood. Because once I start cleaning off the hood, a lot of the droplets that are going to fall from the degreaser are going to fall on here and make a mess anyways, so there's no point in actually starting right here and cleaning these little covers right here. Even though they were starting to look a lot better, there's no point because they're gonna get dirty right now when I start cleaning the hood. So instead I'm gonna go ahead and actually just change directions and focus on just cleaning the hood first. What I've decided to go ahead and do is to go ahead and try to eliminate as much of the dirt and just grime that's going to fall onto the engine bay. I'm actually going to go ahead and spray the towel with some of the degreaser so then I can go ahead and wipe this off and hopefully reducing the droplets that fall. And as you guys can see, it is working. Unfortunately, I have a bad angle, so I'm gonna go ahead and show you how it looks right now and then quickly change it to how it looks after it's been cleaned. So if we look right here, it's mainly the edges that has the most dirt right here. So this right here is the driver's side. And then if we go on to the middle, there is some dirt, but like once you go down here, it honestly doesn't look that bad. But then when we go back up here, this right here was where I was just cleaning, so it's starting to look a lot better. So now I'll go ahead and transition over to how it looks when it's done. Alright, and here we have the hood. And I gotta say, I don't think it turned out that bad. Now, like I've said before, I'm not a professional detailer. I just wanted to go ahead and clean the car off, and I also did use some pretty cheap products, basically the cheapest ones I could find. So don't expect there to be the greatest results, but honestly, compared to how it was, it looks way better. And considering all I did was use some rags that I had and some $9 detergent, I think the results are pretty good. So now that that is done and cleaned, we can now go ahead and actually move to the engine bay. And like I said earlier in the video, for this all I'm gonna do is spray some degreaser on there, go ahead and scrub it with a brush that I have, and then after that just go ahead and rinse it off with a water bottle. Alright guys, and here you guys can see how the car looks after I've gone ahead and degreased it. So it does look clean now, it's nothing special. What actually makes the trim pop is actually going to be the trim detailer. That's what makes it look really shiny and kind of like brand new. But for right now, here you can see how it looks clean. For the most part, I got everything. There were some tight spots where I couldn't reach with the brush, so there might be a little bit of dirt still on it. But compared to how it was, it's already looking a lot better. If you guys see the trim up there, it is starting to look a lot newer and nicer. It's getting more of that shine. And once I put on, like I said, the trim detailer, it'll go ahead and make it pop that much more. So I'll go ahead and do that next. So if any of you guys have seen any other of my videos, you guys would know that I'm constantly working on my cars inside the garage, which is why I like looking for products that actually don't make a mess or don't require a lot of liquid or solution. Which is why for this detail I didn't actually go ahead and spray it. I have a power washer, but that would have just gotten everything around here inside the garage wet and possibly even ruined. Which is why I like going with things that are a lot more simpler and not as, like I said, it doesn't need as much solution. So the actual, it's actually a plastic restorer. It's from Car Guys. It's just like a gray solution that you use with the pad right there that they also provide. And you just go ahead and swipe it and buff it on all of the plastics. Leave it there for a little while it actually goes and bonds onto the plastic, and then you can go ahead and clean it off. So I'm basically any part that you see that's black, so all of that trim right there going up to right there, the engine trim here in the middle, also the air intake piping, and I'll see if I can actually even do some of this hoses that goes right here, kind of make it look better. The housing for the headlight, of course right here the front radiator support, and then this right here, this headlight housing also as well. So basically anything that looks black, I'm gonna go ahead and try to see if I can go ahead and restore it. The only things that I do tend to stay away are stuff like this, where it's actually like a connector, or there's some exposed wires, or honestly even this main wiring harness. I try not to really get anything on it because it might cause problems either now or down the road with corrosion, so I try to stay away from that. But everything else, I'm gonna go ahead and put that plastic restorer on it. Alright guys, and here we have it. As you guys just saw me, I went ahead and put some of the plastic restorer on all of the black trim and basically anything that I could put it on. And I'll go ahead and give you guys a walkthrough right here. After I went ahead and put the plastic restorer on, I let it set for about like 10 minutes before I went and actually started buffing it out with a clean towel. The reason I did that is because if you leave the material on there, you could risk it starting to attract some dust and basically like little debris and stuff like that. So you want to go ahead and buff out any of the excess so that it actually stays clean for a longer period of time. I'm not sure why, but through the camera, the little holes that the cover have for like the battery and the brake oil, they kind of look dirty, but they're not actually. They're pretty clean. I think some of the reflection from the actual solution that kind of makes it look a little bit like dirty, but it's really clean, and you can see right there how reflective it is. It's like really shiny. So that's awesome. It actually does make it look like this car has just been actually detailed. It looks very shiny, especially I always like how it looks up here because it does make it look like a brand new car from the inside the engine bay. And if you see right here too, if it wasn't for the missing emblem, I mean, this cover, engine cover, would look honestly awesome, almost brand new. But yeah, guys, if you liked this video or you guys found it useful, please go ahead and like, comment, and subscribe. And I will go ahead and see you guys in the next one.
Repeat after me. Hakuna Matata.